warehouse is nothing but a godown. The warehouse can be uh, big, small, or medium in size based on the number of products or number of catalog they have, or the volume of the products they are going to manufacture during that particular period of time. And dealership is something which is given to any authoritative company who deals with their products or who sell their products or who kind of manages their inventory to sell across the country or across the globe. And supplier is somebody who comes under the dealership. For example, for India, let us assume for India we have one dealership company, and under that particular dealership company we have many suppliers. Like for example, for Karnataka we have one supplier, for Andhra one supplier, for Delhi, Maharashtra, different states have different suppliers, and under that supplier we will have different vendors. Like for example, if you take India, like we have something like Big C Mobiles, or we have something like what we call Chroma, and like Reliance Digital, or many kind of vendor companies, very small companies who take the supplies from that particular supplier, and they will be ready to sell. And end customer is people like us who will be going to that particular store or shop, and we place an order or we buy that particular product. So this entire life cycle of a product reaching the end customer from that particular manufacturer, we call it as a supply chain management. And to manage all these particular flow, we have different applications. Like for example, to place an order, we have order management system, and to deal all the operations within warehouse, there is some application called as warehouse management system. And to deal with the transport, like, or the logistics part. Logistics is something to send the inventory from the warehouse to dealer, or from the dealer to supplier, or from supplier to vendor. There would definitely need some transportation, and it is basically managed by a system called as TMS. TMS is nothing but transport management system. And the other thing whichever we discussed was OMS. And we even have some projects or some particular implementations where we have something called as an inventory management system. So this particular system manages the inventory of that particular organization. Managing inventory is nothing but, today we have 1,000 pieces of Apple iPhone 13 Pro or whatever the model it is. And if that particular count, or if the stock is going down, they have to refill the stock. If the stock is what you call beyond the threshold, then they have to reduce it. So managing their stock, basically to manage the stock so that that particular end customer should not be feeling that the product is not available for them. So to fulfill the need of that particular customer, they have to manage the inventory, and we call it as inventory management system. So likewise, we have n number of systems, and even to talk between two different systems. Like for example, when you place an order in order management system, this particular system has to talk to transport management system, or this particular system has to talk to warehouse management system. So to have a communication or to have a bridge between these systems, we have some other applications called as middleware. And middleware, it's kind of an bridge or gap between any two applications. So this works as a postman. Like for example, transport management system want to talk to order management system, so that particular communication goes via middleware. So any particular communication between any two systems will go through middleware. So just trying to give a clear idea on what is supply chain management, and what are all the different systems, or what are all the different applications which are involved in the supply chain management. So any doubts or clarifications so far?
Here, warehouse is something that manages inventory, right? Or we have separate inventory management system.
So basically, we have multiple kinds of implementations. So you can manage inventory within warehouse management system. You can manage inventory within order management system, or we can altogether have a different system for inventory management. So it depends upon the implementation of that particular project. For example, if the inventory is managed within OMS, that is order management system, any other system who needs an inventory picture or who needs an information on what is the inventory availability, they have to make a call to OMS. Or if the inventory is managed in WMS, the other system have to make a call to WMS. So basically, it depends upon the implementation. But in the recent implementation, whatever we are seeing, every other implementation is having the inventory management system outside the OMS or WMS or any other application. But there are earlier implementations, or I can say the legacy implementations, where the inventory is managed within warehouse management system, that is WMS. And managing the inventory in WMS is more familiar in a 3PL kind of a system. 3PL is nothing but third party logistics. So basically, there is a term called as 3PL. So it is called as third party logistics. So what we have here is, for example, I can say we all know FedEx. FedEx is a company. So FedEx is an 3PL company. So what is meant by 3PL company? For example, I am owning a water bottle manufacturing industry. So what I can do is I can use the warehouse of FedEx. FedEx has around 1100 or 1000 warehouses across the globe, and they have around 20 to 30 warehouses within India. I don't have a personal warehouse, so and constructing a warehouse is financially dependent on constructing the warehouse. So what I can do is I can use the warehouse of FedEx, and I pay them on a rent or lease basis, and they deal with all my inventory, order, warehouse management, everything. So in these kind of situations, this is called as a third party logistics. So basically, I'm not going to manage anything. I give it to a third party vendor, though they do it all the stuff for me. So in these kind of situations, to manage the warehouse activities of FedEx, they use the warehouse management system. And to manage the inventory of my manufacturing unit, they use warehouse management system. So basically, why they do something like that is they don't want to spend more amount on my inventory. So they just use the same application for warehouse operations as well as inventory management. So having the implementation of warehouse management system with inventory is very familiar in these kind of implementations. Third party logistics like FedEx or DHL or like UPS. So those kind of companies or third party logistics implementations will have the inventory management within WMS part. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, Pradeep, got it.
Anyone else have anything? So basically, this is on a high level what is meant by supply chain management. On in general terms, if you ask me, supply chain management is nothing but somebody is manufacturing something. It is going via multiple channels to reach to the end customer. The entire flow of that particular product to get manufactured and to reach the customer is called as supply chain management. And within supply chain management we have n number of products, and these are like very minimal products. We even have order capture system. So to place an order there should be some order capture system, and we will even have some notification system which will send a notification. We even like that we have n number of systems, but these are the major systems which are being exposed to the world to understand what exactly is happening within supply chain management. So, coming back to our OMS stuff, so we know that currently we understood that as part of supply chain, They use warehouse, WMS, TMS, OMS, inventory management system, middleware, and all stuff. So, what is the role of order management system within supply chain management? So, in order to understand that, first we should understand what is an order. Basically, we all know like placing an order nowadays is become very general or
It's a demand, right?
normal. Yeah, it's a demand basically. Yes. So uh, we basically place an order to the we basically place an order as part of our e-commerce website or any website we place an order. That is nothing but you are requesting something to the end customer. You are requesting something to that particular website to get something to your home. So basically, you are demanding something. As I'm not sure who has mentioned, I guess it might be Pawan or Sidhu. I'm not sure. So as Sidhu has mentioned, like it is a demand. Like you want something to fulfill your day-to-day activity. So it is a demand what you are requesting for. So somebody has to fulfill your demand. So fulfilling your demand is called as supply, and requesting for something is called as a demand. So order is nothing but you are demanding something or you are requesting something to have to your home is called as an order. And what is meant by order management system? So you place an order. So first of all, that particular company who is trying to fulfill your order should understand where is your inventory available. For example, you place an order sitting in Chennai, and the order can't be fulfilled directly from Delhi or Mumbai or any far place. So, to understand where exactly the inventory is available, in which nearest location the inventory is available to fulfill the demand raised by XYZ customer, we have certain functionality within OMS which will help in understanding the inventory picture of XYZ product. For example, as I just mentioned, somebody is sitting in Chennai and they place an order for Apple iPhone, maybe Apple iPhone 13, 14, or whatever model it is. So it's not that Apple is having a warehouse in Delhi and they can't ship each order straight away from Delhi all the way to Chennai. So what OMS does is, first of all, OMS will try to check the nearest warehouse or the nearest place where it can fulfill your product or fulfill your demand. So that is a major or the main functionality within OMS which helps in fulfilling your particular demand. So that is one major functionality of OMS is that to get or fetch the nearest warehouse from where you can fulfill your product. And the second thing is as part of OMS, currently like whenever we are placing any order or whenever we are requesting for any demand, it has to go through multiple levels. I mean, like it has to send a request to that particular warehouse. Warehouse people has to process your order. They have to pick it, pack it, ship it, and it has to reach to your uh, home. So this entire process of order, like today I'm placing an order, and it will instantly give me a response telling that your order is placed successfully and it will be delivered in so and so time in within 2 days or 3 days of time. And after placing the order, the first thing it will does is it has to check whether the inventory is available or not. It has to check whether the payment is done or not. The payment processing has to be done, and after that, it has to get released to the warehouse. I mean, like they have to intimate to the WMS system, and WMS system has to do the picking, packing, and shipping within the warehouse. And again, they would send a message back to OMS, and OMS people will send a message to us telling that your so and so product is shipped and it will reach in 1 or 2 days to you. And once it reaches, it would even send a message to deliver. So this is a basic flow which we see in our day-to-day life. So to manage this entire flow, we would need this application called as order management system. So basically, as part of supply chain management, order management system will help the end customer to request or to demand something and get the product to his doorstep is used for order management is used for having this particular flow fulfilled. So that is the generic, I can say, explanation on order management system. But on the technical side of order management system, like we have many technical discussions which we are going to have in the upcoming sessions. So, any questions on this? Okay. Yeah. Somebody was talking something. Okay. Great. Fine. Yeah, thank you. So on this, right, like we have couple of slides just to understand the Sterling water management system. So I will just show you guys. So as we were just discussing on the supply chain management or order management system, so these are the different participants which are involved as part of the entire order flow. As we discussed, right, supplier is somebody who is having the product directly from the manufacturer, and that particular manufacturer will get the product, or sorry, that particular supplier will get the product and he would place that particular product in the warehouse. And as we just discussed, right, warehouse is also called as a node in Sterling. In Sterling, warehouse is also called as a node. So node can be kind of a retail outlet, or it can be a field, or it can be a branch, or it can be a regional distribution center. So regional distribution center is nothing but a big warehouse. Like for example, I'm having one big warehouse for entire South India. I'm having one big warehouse for entire North India. So that kind of big warehouses is called as a regional distribution center. And within South India, I have warehouse for each state. Let us assume for Andhra one, for Tamil Nadu, Telangana, and I have one for Kerala, Karnataka. So what it will do, for example, I have my regional distribution center in Bangalore, and I have separate warehouses in each of the state. So what the supplier will do, he will send or ship all the products from the manufacturing unit or from the what do you call that, the central warehouse where the inventory is being kept by the manufacturer, into the regional distribution center which is present in Bangalore. And from there they would send or they would ship the inventory to that particular warehouse or branch or retail outlet which is present as part of the each state. In this manner, the products getting shipped or the products being demanded or requested can be fulfilled easily. Like somebody who is sitting in Hyderabad places an order, he can get the product directly from the branch or the node which is present within Telangana, so that it will reduce the shipping cost for the company. So basically, retail outlet is something nowadays we are seeing, right? Like whenever you place an order in Amazon, you can directly go and pick it up in that particular store. So it is retail outlet is kind of a place where the inventory can be kept as well. And as I mentioned, we do need the transportation from the supplier to the warehouse, and from warehouse to the customer, there is a transportation involved. So for that particular transportation, we would use different type of carrier. So different type of carrier, I mean, like we would use FedEx as a carrier, and we would use UPS, DHL, or like Blue Dart in India. So different kind of carrier services are available, and all these carrier service integrations or carrier service management will be done by TMS, that is Transport Management System. And from, from them, directly from the warehouse, we would ship the product to the customer, and the customer would raise the request to the warehouse or the company using the web applications or the field is nothing but it can be our retail store, or it can be anything. And web application is nothing but our e-commerce website where he can customer can directly place an order, and it would be fulfilled from that particular warehouse. So this pictorial representation is just to make you guys understand what exactly or how exactly the uh, order management or order flows within Sterling or within the supply chain model. Any doubts or clarifications here? And sorry. So these are the different participants present in the supply chain module. So like maybe these are a little important as we are going to talk on the Sterling terms. So business group is nothing but the parent company. So I would take Reliance as an example here. So as we all know, Reliance has multiple entities or multiple branches under that. Like for example, we have Reliance Digital, Reliance Trends, or we have Reliance Petroleum, Reliance Fresh, and under Reliance we have all these particular. We have Geo and we have Agio, the what we call the garments industry, whatever we have. So I would say Reliance is the business group, the parent company. So that we call it as a hub. And under Reliance, we all know that we have these many. So I will just try to note it down. So Reliance will be my parent company, and under Reliance we can have multiple uh, organizations or enterprises. So I would say Reliance Digital, or I would say Reliance Trends, and so let us take like just three examples. So this Reliance is a parent company, which is my hub. So hub is nothing but the parent company, and under that I can have enterprises is nothing but the child companies, or I can say different entities within the parent company. So I can say like Reliance Digital is one child company or enterprise. So when you come to Sterling, we call it as an enterprise. In general terms, we call it as a company or a legal entity. So why we need these things in Sterling is nothing but, for example, Reliance is an in the real world also Reliance uses Sterling OMS. So when you place an order in Agio, or when you place an order in Geo or Reliance Fresh or any kind of an application, that particular order goes through Sterling OMS. So even in the real world, Reliance uses Sterling OMS. So whenever they want to configure Reliance as an organization within Sterling, we configure Reliance as a parent organization, or we call it as hub within Sterling. And all these child companies will be configured as an enterprise within Sterling. Okay. And we have something called as buyer, seller, node, and template. So what is meant by buyer, what is meant by seller, and what is meant by node and template? So when I take Reliance as an example, let us assume we have like a small shop in a remote village or anywhere. Like for example, I have I would okay. Yeah, when we are having like what you call Reliance as an organization, and we have what is meant by buyer and what is meant by seller. So buyer is somebody who buys the product from the Reliance, and they are not the end customer. Like for example, let me take Reliance as an example, and I'm taking Geo as also one more example so that I can give you guys easy. So Geo is also one more entity under Reliance. We all know that. So for example, there is a vendor who provides the Geo internet in a remote village or in any town. So that particular person will be considered as buyer, or that particular organization will be considered as buyer. So what we will do, like we will just have some XYZ organization created, and that particular XYZ organization will be configured as a buyer, so that whenever we get an order from this particular XYZ organization for Geo, we call this particular person or organization as buyer. So to give a clear example, right, we can go back to our Apple. So Apple as an organization, we can have Apple as an organization, and we can have Under Apple, let us assume like mobiles is one entity and accessories is one entity. So, for example, Big C is placing an order to Apple. So Big C is not an end customer. Okay, so Big C, what it does, it takes some 100 mobiles or 1,000 mobiles from Apple and it will again sell to the end customer. So in this place, Big C is an organization. Okay, so Big C as an organization, it is configured as buyer in our system, and whenever we get an order from Big C, we configure it as buyer, and it will be buyer to the Apple, but it's not an end customer. I hope I know this is a little confusing. I hope you guys are clear, or like if any doubts or questions, we can talk.
So you're saying that Big C is buying from XYZ, right?
Yes, Patan, yeah.
Then okay, I'm not jumping, but in that case, Big C should be a seller as well.
Yeah, it can be seller as well. Yeah, whenever we are configuring, we can configure buyer as well as seller. So one
You're selling
particular
to a consumer or anybody.
consumer, yes. So one particular organization, whenever you are configuring within Sterling, you can configure it as buyer, you can configure it as seller, and you can also configure it as an enterprise. So one particular organization which we are configuring in Sterling, we can configure it as all three of it. I mean, like this particular organization can do all three operations. I hope is that clear, guys? Like we can discuss like a number of times, like if you guys are not clear on anything, because these are the basic terms which are needed to understand any implementation. Tomorrow, you guys go into any project where Sterling is implemented. So first of all, you should understand what is the participant modeling. So what are all the different participants are present and how exactly they work. So I want you guys to understand that. Yeah, let me know if any one of you didn't get it. So basically, as I was mentioning, right, like Bixi can be configured as a buyer, or it can be configured as a seller, or it can be configured as an enterprise. But under Apple organization, we cannot have Bixi as an enterprise because what we call Bixi will not be an enterprise for Apple. So if you're going for a Bixi kind of an a model, and under Bixi we can have Bixi Hyderabad, Bixi Bangalore, Bixi Chennai. So in those kind of places, Bixi Hyderabad can be enterprise and Bixi can be a hub or an parent organization. So this particular family chart or hierarchy, we call it as an organization hierarchy. So this particular hierarchy is required for any enterprise whenever we are having it configured on the Sterling OMS. So the next thing is node. Node is nothing but the warehouse. So we can have some warehouse one, warehouse two, warehouse three, or we can even have like Hyderabad warehouse, Bangalore warehouse. We can have different names to it, and we can configure it as a node. As I was mentioning from the beginning, we call the uh, warehouse as a node in Sterling. And like there is one more concept called as a template. So a group of stores, like or retail stores, we call it as a template. So any doubts on this? Like so, basically these are the different participants, and I would also show you guys tomorrow on how exactly the participants can be configured in the Sterling. And whenever you are installing Sterling, right, like you have selected one small checkbox called as reference implementation required. So whenever you are having that particular checkbox, so after the installation, there will be an organization called as Matrix. So this particular matrix organization is already created in your system. So tomorrow we will talk about the hierarchy or organization hierarchy of matrix, so that you guys will get a little more idea on how exactly these participants are configured on Sterling OMS. Any doubts on the participants before we jump into the other part of it? Okay, great. So, coming to a little more internal part, like whatever we have seen in our previous diagram, it just gives an high level or layman terms of supply chain management or order management. So, coming back into a little more detail on what exactly is present in an order management system or an order flow, what are all the different systems involved. So first of all, we have something called as MQ or JMS. So these are the messaging services. Like we know that JMS is nothing but our Java messaging service. So whenever two applications want to talk to each other, they can talk via a JMS queue. So I hope like most of you guys are aware of there is something called as a queue. Queue is nothing but a connection between any two applications and they can talk over that particular queue. Like for example, system 1 is sending some message to system 2, so system 1 will just push the message into the queue and system 2 will consume the message and they will process that particular message. So to communicate between any two systems, we would need the messaging services. So this is the first system which is involved within our Sterling within our order management system. And in our sessions or going forward, we would be using the WebLogic JMS queues. So you guys might have already installed WebLogic. So we would create some WebLogic JMS queues and use them as a messaging service within our Sterling OMS. And the second thing is order capture. And order capture is nothing but any website or e-commerce website, whatever you guys see in our day-to-day life, uh, is needed in order management system or it's part of the order management flow to have the orders captured. And in the market, we have different kinds of applications, like how for order management system, we have Sterling. So in the market, we have something called as WCS. WCS is nothing but WebSphere Commerce. So it is an application of IBM. And we have something called as Demandware, and we have something called as ATG. I don't remember the full form of ATG, but this is a product of Oracle. So these are the different systems which are available in the system to create or to have the order capture system implemented for that particular implementation or for that particular client. And we have something called as item master. So item master is a place where the catalog, the number of products that particular client or the manufacturer is having has to be listed. Like for example, you are going to any shop or you are going to any hotel, they would provide you a menu, like what are all the things or what are all the items they provide to the customers. So the list of items is called as an item master. So in many places, item master might be present within OMS or within WMS, or in some places we might have item master at the client side, as client also would need the item master data in their system, and there would be a synchronous process or synchronization process between the client item master system and OMS or WMS. So that is what item master is. And we have something called as store or location master. So it is nothing but what all the stores are available for that particular client. And we would also have the stores configured in OMS, because whenever an order is coming from XYZ store, OMS should be aware. And this particular store master, what it will does is it will be at a client facing, and client will have the control over the stores. Like for example, they have some 100 stores in India and tomorrow they want to close some store, so they can mark it as closed, and that particular message will be sent to OMS, and in OMS also we can mark that particular store as closed. Or they are going to create a new store, and that particular store master data will be sent to OMS, and that store will be created in OMS. So item master and store master, they will have synchronization process between that particular system and OMS frequently. And inventory system, as we discussed already, inventory all the inventory management is done as part of this particular inventory system, and we can have the inventory management done within OMS or within WMS, or we can have a separate system for inventory system. And in the recent terms, IBM is having a separate application called as inventory visibility, which we call it as IV. So most of the latest implementations, or I can say the recent implementations where IBM Sterling OMS is used, they are going with this IV, the inventory visibility. So inventory visibility is an external application from OMS where the inventory management is done, and OMS will talk to IV over REST calls. And coming to within Sterling, so like whatever you are seeing between these two bars, all these things are done by Sterling or order management system. So store is an application which is part of the Sterling management or Sterling fulfillment suite. So it's a complete package, I can say. So within the package you have a store application. So store application is basically used by the store people who are sitting in the store. Like for example, as I mentioned, Reliance Trends is a store. So whenever you walk to Reliance Trends and you carry one pair of dress, you go to the billing counter and they scan the products and they process your order. So that particular application they use to process your order is called as store. And this application is provided as part of Sterling IBM OMS fulfillment suite. And call center is also one more application which is part of the entire package of Sterling OMS. And call center is an application which is used by customer care people. If there is any issue or any problem with your order, or if there is any modification needs to be done to your order, we basically call to customer care and we would ask them like, I'm unable to modify the address, or I don't want so and so product, I want to cancel it, or I want a refund for my product, or whatever the reason it might be. So customer care people, they will be using call center application in order to have the modifications done on the orders placed. And store call center also uses the same database, same server of whatever Sterling OMS is being used. And SBC is one more application. So it is called as Sterling Business Center. So this particular application uh, helps the business people. Like for example, today when you go to Amazon website and there you see some 20% offer on some Adidas shoes, 10% offer on Nike shoes, or 10% offer on Apple iPhone. So these things will be decided by business people. So they can use this Sterling Business Center application to modify certain things which are in their control. So that is one more application. And the main part is OMS, that is our order management system. And within order management system, we have different modules which we are going to talk throughout these sessions. Like one is global inventory visibility, distributor order management, catalog management, and reverse logistics. So on all these modules, like we will be touching those in one or the other sessions throughout this training. And the next thing is payment process. So payment is something where OMS will be integrated with external payment gateway. So I would also show you guys how payment integration can be done. And I would also show you an working example how exactly the payment works. And customer review, like this is an application which is external to OMS, like where we would take the review from the customer and all. It's just a placeholder here. And POS is nothing but point of sale. And there are certain applications where you directly go to a store and you buy the product there itself. So point of sale is kind of an application where you directly go to the store and place an order then and there, and you get the product. So this is an application which is integrated with OMS to process that particular order. And on the other side, we have WMS, which is what you call the warehouse management system. And JDA is also one more warehouse management system which is available in the market. And ERP is also one more application. No, I guess it's an ERP tool basically which we have in the market, which can be used instead of WMS. So these are all the different systems which are involved as part of the entire order flow. And out of all this, we would see about the OMS part, we would also see about the SDC, we would see the payment processing, and we would see the integration between WMS and OMS. We would see the integration between order capture system and OMS, and we would see the integration between item master and OMS. But as we don't have this external system, I would try to explain you guys how the data flows from item master to OMS and from OMS to item master in that kind of way. Any doubts on this entire different kinds of system, guys? Okay, great. Yeah, thanks for that. And yeah, this is just for our understanding, uh, like what are all the different products available in the market. So IBM, we all know that IBM is a organization which provides different services. Like DB2 is their database, WCS is their order capture system, WebSphere application is an application server which they provide, OMS, WMS, and for email notification they provide Silverpop. So here we just try to provide you a comparison of different players in the market, I can say. So IBM is something which is used by a mid or large size organizations, and SAP also provides the e-commerce solutions like order management system, WMS system, or what do you call that, order capture system. So even SAP has all these kind of products or services available, but it would be majorly used by mid-sized clients or customers. And Oracle also provides the services like for database Oracle DB. ATG is their order capture system, Oracle OMS, Oracle WMS, and WebLogic is our application server, and Oracle SQL suite. Like this is one more thing which they provide. So, and this particular Oracle is basically used by very large customers in the market. So whatever we are talking today is about IBM, but we have kind of an hybrid model, I can say, like where we are using IBM OMS from Sterling OMS from IBM, and we are using Oracle DB and WebLogic. So even these kind of combinations are possible. So yeah, this particular slide is just kind of an comparison to help you guys understand what all the different players we have in the market. And this is a simple pictorial representation on what are all the servers involved in order management system. So first thing is like this might not be applicable for whatever we have in local, the local installation, whatever you guys have did, because there we have only admin server and whatever we are running is on top of that particular admin server. But this particular representation is something which is in the real time. I can say the real time implementation, or I can say the production environment implementation. We would have multiple servers, like multiple application servers. Like we can see here, we have server 1, 2, 3, and we would have one load balancer, and we have two web servers. So basically, application servers are kind of an what you call the servers which take certain functionalities running on them. Like I can say, all the backend work which is being done, it will be done on this particular application servers. And whatever you have on the console part, the application console, whatever we are seeing, will be hosted on the web servers. And we have the load balancer. Load balancer is something which we all know, like whenever any particular server is going down, the other server will try to manage the load, entire volume of the incoming calls which is being hit or invoked to our server. So this particular load balancer will take care of the managing the load on of each application. So that is how the uh, real-time implementation present for web servers and application servers. And coming to these agent servers, like you guys will understand what is meant by agent server in upcoming sessions. But we have n number of agent servers, like in each project we may have 20 to 30 agent servers. So agent server is a small, uh, I can say Java program which is keep on running to process our orders from one status to other status, or even I can say to have the order flow from one process to other process. So we have like n number of agent servers, and all the agent servers can be run on a single box, or we can have multiple boxes running on running these agent servers. And we have the DB2 or Oracle database, and we have the IBM MQ or Oracle JMS queue services, messaging services, and we have BI, Cognos, or Tableau. These are basically used to generate the reports. Like for example, the client wants to know like what number of orders has been created today, and what do you call that? How many orders are being processed? How many shipments are getting processed? How many are stuck? Whatever kind of reports the client want to do, they can use any of these applications. And we have monitoring. We have Dynatrace is one system. App Dynamics, Willy, New Relic. So these are all the different applications or systems which can be integrated with our servers, which will provide us the monitoring levels, like what is the memory, what is the CPU utilization, what is the depth on the queue, and different kind of monitoring levels can be monitored using these particular applications. So yeah, this is just an high level understanding on what all the different systems or servers involved in order management system. Any doubts on this, guys? Okay, great. And this is a simple, what do you call that, scenario. Like uh, just before we get started on the Sterling stuff tomorrow. So this is a simple example which we want to show. So we all know that there are different APIs or different services provided by Java. Like for example, Java has its own API Java docs. Like for example, java.lang.math, java.lang.util. So these are all the different packages which are provided by Java. So the same way, Sterling OMS has its own Java docs. Like something. So these are all the different packages provided by Sterling, and each package has its own classes or its own APIs which can be invoked to have some job done in Sterling OMS. One such example is create order. So when I say create order, so create order is an API which is exposed in order to create an order. So for example, I want to create an order. I can invoke this particular API and I can create an order in Sterling Order Management System. So likewise, for every process or for every operation you want to do in Sterling Order Management System, you can utilize these packages or these APIs to have your job done. So one such example is create order. And around this particular API, we have something called as an user exit, and we have something called as an event. So what is meant by user exit? User exit is something which is invoked to have an extra information provided to the API. So I'll repeat, user exit is something which can be implemented to provide the extra information or to provide extra implementation while the API is getting invoked. For example, external system is trying to invoke create order API, and I want to have certain validations or I want to have certain modifications before it is invoking the real API. I can do some modifications or I can do some implementation as part of the user exit, so that the input XML or the input message which is coming into our API can be modified or can be validated, or it can be what to call it, like It can be changed however we want, and we can invoke the API. So basically, user exit is something which helps the API to have its job done easily. So if for example if for example API needs some external information, then you can implement some what do you call that, user exit, and you can provide that information to API. So basically, on a high level, user exit is something which helps in getting the extra information, or which helps in modification, validation of the input message before even it is invoking the API. And what is meant by an event? Event is nothing but the outcome of the API. Like for example, you have invoked create order API. It can be success, or it can be failure, or it can raise any kind of an exception, or it can provide any kind of an result. So whatever is the outcome of the create order API, it will be raising that particular event. So when we go back to our create order API, we can see it can raise n number of events raised. It can raise on success, or it can raise incomplete payment information, or it can raise on failure, on hold type. So different kinds of events can be raised. Like for example, somebody has placed an order, but that particular order is not having payment information, or they have not provided the required payment information. So the output of this particular API would be incomplete payment information. So that particular event will be invoked, and as part of the event, we can do any implementation you want. Like for example, if the order is successfully created, then it would raise on success event. On success event is raised, or I can say on success event is invoked. Whenever that particular on success event is invoked, I can send a message to the customer mentioning that his or her order is successfully placed. For example, the order creation is failed. Then an on failure event will be raised. Then I can send a notification for XYZ reason, your order is failed. Please try to place a new order. Or for example, the order is not having payment information, I can send or I can request for payment information to be included. So basically, user exit is something which helps in providing extra information or providing validation modification which needs to be done on the input XML, and helps the API to process that particular message, is called as user exit. And event is something which is raised or invoked post the API invocation based on the result of the API invocation. Any doubts on this, guys? Come on, you guys have to talk. Like you guys are not talking.
Yeah, it's clear, Pradeep.
Okay. I, yeah. So don't worry, guys. Like if something is over your head, you can reach out to me. Like post these sessions also. I would be available over WhatsApp, and we can have a quick call, or what you call this, Google Meet anytime. And I would also what you call show you guys how to implement a user exit, how to implement an event. So that is part of our list of topics already. And I would show different user exit. Like we are implementing user exit for create order, we are implementing user exit for payments, or different places we can implement user exit. And event is also implemented in different places. So if somebody is not understanding, please raise a question or concern. I can repeat it a number of times. And however, we are going to show you guys how this can be implemented. And like we have certain questions, I can say, or I can say certain task, maybe like whoever is what do you call, like maybe I can say like you guys can just go back and get the answers for these things. It's just an activity so that you guys will understand what are all the different players are present in the market, like what is meant by a web server, what is meant by application server, what is the difference between what you call that, supply demand, what is the difference between 3PL, 4PL, and all stuff. So I would just share this document as well. Try to get the answers for this, and it would help you guys in understanding whatever we have discussed today. So today I would share you guys this particular introduction document as well as our Excel sheet which has the list of topics. I want you guys to go through both the documents and come back with questions. And coming to this particular list of topics, I want you guys to mention if there is any topic which is missed. We will try to include those topics and have them part of the session. Yeah, that's all I have for the day, guys. And let us meet back tomorrow, same time. Uh,
Okay, good.
Great, Pratap. Thanks everyone.
Thank
And
you.
okay, Aishwarya, or maybe like, can you please inform Sidhu to provide your mail ID?
Yeah, yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Pradeep.
Thank you.